The first real topic that I would like to talk about here on the show today is the passing, very unexpected passing, mind you, of Roddy Piper, dying at the age of 61 this past Friday night, July 31st, 2015, by way of a cardiac arrest, a heart attack. And it's, the losing legend, and I've said this, in multiple posts on my Raw review here on the website, which should be up soon. I know it's been very delayed, but like I said, it's just been so busy in the last couple days. I said it on Facebook, said it on Twitter, but said it in video blogs, but it never gets any easier. In the time that I've been a wrestling fan since 2008, we've lost a lot of legends, not like a crazy amount, but a handful, a lot of notable names that, we've lost a lot of wrestlers, but there's been a lot too that I've been, I wasn't a fan during their heyday, like Roddy Piper or Dusty Rhodes or an Ultimate Warrior. But I have been around long enough, especially an Ultimate Warrior, who I talked about at that time, who was such an inspirational icon of mine. But like a Dusty Rhodes or a Roddy Piper, especially guys who have been making consistent appearances on WWE TV for the last X amount of years. Even long after they retired from the ring 10, 15 years ago, they've been making appearances on WWE TV as legends for years. They feel like... It's so crazy. It's amazing to see the connection that fans have with certain wrestlers, myself included, just wrestling fans in general. And it goes back to the video blog I did about a couple weeks ago for the YouTube channel on one of those random video blog things, where I talked about how wrestling has the greatest fan base in the world, and I thoroughly believe that. I firmly believe that we do have the greatest fan base in the world, especially, when like an athlete passes away for any other sport. I can't really say, I hate to compare, but it's like, oh, that's really unfortunate. It does happen for wrestling fans too. But when you open Raw with like a video package, you would think like, oh, after the passing of Dusty, people are kind of like numb to this kind of thing now. No, not at all. Absolutely not. There was not a dry eye in the house when that video package aired on Monday night. I found myself getting emotional just watching that video package they did to Roddy with a great song. WWE is always top notch when it comes to their video packages in general, but specifically for when someone passes away. The Ultimate Warrior one, bawled my eyes out for that one. The Dusty Rhodes one, bawled my eyes out for that one. Roddy Piper one, I was in public when I watched it, so I could not bawl my eyes out, but I did get a little watery-eyed when I did watch it on Monday night. It was so well done, especially the 10-bell salute, which they did do at the Northeast Wrestling Show, which was not surprising. I expected something like that, but it was so great to see, all these fans and all these promotions and how not even well known, but just how well liked this guy was. It's world-renowned icon, not even for wrestling, but just a pop culture icon. I can't tell you the amount of texts and messages and Facebook likes that I got on posts that I put up on Facebook and Twitter from people that I know don't watch anymore, much less watched at all, I put up a post on my personal Facebook page, as well as on my fan page, Graham GSM Matthews, which you can like at facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. I'm sure this is not the time to be plugging that, and of course it's not. Very tasteless of me, I apologize. But going back to what I was saying, I put up a post on my personal Facebook on Saturday, I think it was, paying tribute to Roddy Piper. As I usually do when a legend passes away, like the Warrior or Dusty Rhodes. I always do it. And I got a number of likes from people that I know for a fact don't watch these days, or have never watched at all. And it really goes to show how much, how impactful a guy like Roddy Piper, the impact this guy has had on not only wrestling fans of today, but of yesteryear, and just people that have never ever watched. It's amazing. Like I talked about before, when I was at work and I got the text, I was just sitting there in shock, like, wow, we lost another one. It's surreal. It's just, wow. Only, 6 weeks removed. Not even 6 months, 6 weeks removed from the shocking passing of Dusty Rhodes, who was sick. Jim Ross came out and said, I kind of already knew beforehand he was not well. They didn't know he was going to pass away, albeit, but they kind of had that premonition that he was not doing as well as he once was. Roddy Piper, you never really got that feeling. The guy made a media appearance to talk about the Hulk Hogan fiasco about a week or so ago on, I forgot what it was, maybe something for ESPN, but he was really all over the place, typical Roddy Piper. but he didn't really look like he was on the verge of having a heart attack. It really was just something that came out of the blue. And you watch these guys growing up, or I watched him growing up too, but in a different way than someone that's been watching since the 80s or the 90s. I watched him growing up, making appearances on, oh my God, Santino's segment. I think that was one of the first memories that I have as a wrestling fan. Interestingly enough, when they did the whole Santino Marella, Cousin Sal, Roddy Piper angle, where Roddy Piper was feuding with Santino on TV. So, and they had Roddy Piper make an appearance on Jimmy Fallon and Santino too, and they brought in Cousin Sal to have a match with Santino. I remember that. The Piper's Pit segments that he's done over the years with the likes of John Cena. The one before Survivor Series 21, before Survivor Series 2010 sticks out in my mind as being one of the best in years. That one, the one that we got, a very underrated Piper's Pit. A lot of people talk about that one before Survivor Series 2010 where he said, if you help Wade Barrett win that WWE title, you will be spitting in the face of everyone that has not only held that championship, but of everyone that has never held that title. People like me, Roddy Piper. And that was amazing. That was a great show too. But you fast forward about a year later on the Raw. I think it was after Survivor Series of 2011. They weren't really doing anything with John Cena, and they were just kind of beginning to build him and Rock at WrestleMania. So they brought in Piper to kind of bring the best out of Cena, and he absolutely did. And that was an amazing segment too. And I have not heard a lot of people praise that as much as they should. So if you don't even know what I'm talking about, go out of your way to check out that one segment. That was phenomenal. And like I said, I can't talk about the greatest Piper matches and moments of all time. I have not been watching that long. I can suggest to you go watch his old WrestleMania matches or the Goldust match, the parking lot brawl, or the Hollywood lot brawl from WrestleMania 12, like stuff like that. I watched on the network and I had so much fun watching it. It's so enjoyable. But I'm only speaking from the stuff that I know of him, from what I've been watching as a fan since 2008. I can only really go off the memories that I have of him. I think the last WWE appearance that he made was, I want to say on the Christmas episode of Raw this past year, or late last year rather. I think it was a segment with Lana and Rusev, and then Ryback came down, so it was kind of short-lived, but it was short and sweet. He did Piper's Pit segments with The Miz, I remember on multiple occasions, with Jericho, Wade Barrett, so many guys over the years. I know he did one before WrestleMania last year, which is really amazing to look back on. I've used that word amazing so many times so far in this podcast, but at WrestleMania 30, I'm so glad they were able to do that now in retrospect, thinking about now that Piper is gone, they were able to do that. That little backstage segment, which was so underrated. It was right after. I think it actually took place immediately after the streak was broken, so people either didn't really notice or really care, for that matter. But it was a reuniting of all the combatants, all the 4 participants in the WrestleMania 1 main event. Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, I can't speak tonight. Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, and Mr. T. And that was only 24 hours removed after Mr. T was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and they all kind of made amends on that night and hugged it out backstage. It was a great moment, especially 30 years removed. It's 2015, 30 years removed from the very first WrestleMania main event, and one of the guys that participated in that match has passed away. It wasn't Hogan, it wasn't Orndorff, it wasn't even Mr. T, it was Roddy Piper, someone that you grow up watching and you think is never going to ever go away.